I just hopefully not Sir James. I just hope it's not Sir James of Wendy or Rusty. That would be insulting. What was that, Kirsten? I think Kirsten had some kind of... Ah, Sir James the laxative of the bush, said Kirsten. Kirsten, a laxative is not a place. However true that might be, it's not a place. It could be Sir James of the Midden, though. Sir James of the Dung Pile. Sir James of the Scat. That would work. Much as I would hate for it to be the case. Wonder what it would be for Eggsy. Eggsy of the Hen Hutch. Right, I've taken about 75 pictures of her doing exactly the same thing, so I think I'll stop myself now taking further pictures of her doing the same thing. I'm just rather fascinated by why she's sitting here. I don't really understand why it is. We're about to be passed by a cheetah-coloured van. It's going to be very exciting, everybody. You won't see it, don't worry, we'll keep it on Karula. We are, unfortunately, on one of the main access routes, and this poor chap is trying to get his guests into a sighting. Not into a sighting, into a lodge. And this, of course, was this strange thing that Karula did, was to keep them under culvert on this road for a few months. In a very strange place. Because there's so much activity. Hello Rachel, you're a new viewer, it's great to hear from you, and obviously one of the things that you don't... Eggsy, there's an elephant behind you there, see there? Just sitting in the bush. We'll go back to the cat. Rachel, you're wondering about whether or not a hungry leopard like this might pose some kind of threat to us. And the answer, Rachel, is no. She doesn't see us as prey. There goes the lovely cheetah-coloured van. Let's go back to the leopard. And so, Rachel, we're totally safe over here. I have heard, of course, of leopards, and I've seen leopards charge vehicles before. I've had a leopard leap onto my car before, but that was not because he was hungry, it was because he was angry with some wild dogs. They just don't see us as something to eat, you know. They just see the vehicle as a normal part of the day, and their immediate reaction, if they do feel threatened, is to run away. It's not to approach us. But she is just sitting in the most regal way. So Rachel, in the same thing with the lions, they behave in precisely the same way. Sometimes you feel a little bit threatened by them, but even on foot, Rachel, if I was to get out of the car and she was ravenously hungry, her first reaction would be to run away from me. It wouldn't be to come anywhere near us. Now, I'm not sure how long we're going to be able to sit here for. Oh, there, look, she's running. Sorry, I thought you were about to miss her. Nail something behind you. Go for it. She started running. She stopped again. Look. She's stalking everybody. There she goes. She's definitely spotted something in there. Look how flat she is. How she's going south into the reserve. South of us. We can't see what she's looking at because there's a a vehicle parked just in front of her. And I don't want to start the engine. Let's just be very quiet. You see something? Yeah. There we go. Now let's see what she's looking at. Now here you can see the amazing coloration that a leopard has for this time of year. It's perfect. Look at that. You wouldn't see that if you came walking past here, and she'll flatten herself against the ground if she sees something. She's definitely spotted something. You saw the way she moved across the road there. I'm staring into the bush now. I cannot see anything that she might be looking at. Station approaching sighting at Twin Dams. I think we're going to have to leave, everybody. No, we're not. That person's gone the other way. Excellent. We'll stay here. The next person to leave will have to be us, I'm afraid, because we've been watching her for quite a while now. I'm scouring into the bush to see anything in there. I can see a drongo that's been there the whole time watching her. For some reason not alarm calling. Now, you can track leopards by the alarm calls that drongos give sometimes. So I think we'll just sit very quietly here and see what transpires. She's stalking, absolutely she does. Here she goes, everyone. She looks very liquid indeed. As my sister used to say, I think, cats are so bendy. And they are so bendy. Alright everyone, I think we're probably going to have to leave the sighting. She is on the reserve to the south of us. There's another vehicle approaching, which means they're going to take charge of the sighting because she is south of us. But let's watch her go. I'm not affecting her at all by sitting here. Well, just see what she does. But we might have to leave soon, so I do apologize. But there's now we can do. Can you still see her, Eggsy? I can't see her, but the people in front of us can, and so I don't think she's disappeared. Alright everybody, there are now 4 vehicles in the sighting, so we're going to pull out. We've had a wonderful view. And it's just a much better view idea that she isn't pressured at all by all of us. What a fantastic sighting. Whatever she manages to kill there, I hope she brings it back this way. There she is. You can just have one last look at her and then we'll pull out. Beautiful. Okay. Wonderful stuff. Cheers, eh? Alright, let's head across to Brent, get an update from him. What a fantastic sighting that was.
Look at this! There's a baboon fight! Not really a fight, more of a scolding by one of the dominant male baboons on a younger one, or actually on a female. You can see how much physically bigger that big male is than the females. Now, baboons have quite funny rear ends. Now, if we have a look at that female just to the right of screen there, who's standing on her back legs, you can see her behind is very swollen. And that is a sign of estrus. Oh, there's a couple there, a little bit to the left. There we go, that female there. So she is in estrus, ready to mate. And 2 of those females are actually in estrus there. You can see the swollen hindquarters. A nice, oh, look at the little one, he nearly fell when he jumped into the branch. But the big male baboons rule these troops with an iron fist, and they don't tolerate any misbehavior from the other members. Let's just move, see if we can get another good view of them. They're unfortunately moving quite quickly up into the bush. So at this time of the day, the baboons are moving towards one of their roosting spots, and a big troop's going to need some big trees, and they're like big high trees like jackalberries, some big leadwoods, where they feel safe from predators. Now, leopards and lions are the only 2 real baboon predators out here, and even then a female leopard would think twice about tangling with a baboon. Those big males have canines that are longer than lions, but at night I have seen female leopards grab them out of the trees while they're sleeping, and that causes mass pandemonium amongst the baboon troop. Try to stick with them as long as possible. They are one of the more fascinating creatures to watch for extended periods. They're always up to something. For me, they always have a look of guilt, like they've just done something wrong or they're about to. And so they're moving quite quickly, probably trying to get through to a little river system where there are those big trees, and there's that big tree near Twin Dams where Karula was just as a sort of an ideal roosting spot for the baboons. They might be heading, I think they are heading towards the little river system around Treehouse Dam. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get up ahead of them and wait for them. Oh, they're still opposite me. And maybe wait for them to come through. Now, Lisa's wondering, what exactly do baboons eat? Well, they are the ultimate omnivore. They all eat insects, flowers, leaves, bugs, birds. I'm just trying to see. There you go. It's really quick. I'm going to get up ahead. They are moving quite quickly through the bush. As I said, they don't want to be stuck out in the African darkness, just like we don't. All primates, our night vision is terrible. So they're in the rush hour to get home to a good safe spot to spend the night. Oh, and here comes our rush hour. Hello, hello! Baboons. Yeah. Enjoy, guys. Bye! Okay, now I'm hoping they're going to pop through just up here. So I'm going to get to this little bend in the road and I'm going to sit quietly. Now, our baboons are not too used to vehicles, so they can be a bit skittish. That's why I've gone up ahead of them, and I'd rather let them come to us. But being primates like us with those forward-facing eyes, and they might be aware of my plans. You see them there? Let's try a little bit further forward. But Safari Jenny is wondering what happened to the wild dogs. Well, I think they didn't come north. I checked for tracks. There were no tracks. So unfortunately, I think they must have stayed down south somewhere. But it looks like the baboons have given us the slip. Smart primates. It is an absolutely gorgeous winter's afternoon, and while VM and I enjoy our moment in the African sunset, let's go see how Eggsy and James are enjoying theirs.
Are we live? Goodness gracious me. I seem to have pulled this out again. Hello everybody. How long have we been live, Eggsy? Just now. Okay, good. We've just heard a bird here that I don't think I've seen before. It's either a bearded or a white-throated robin chat calling there. Now let's see if we can't spot it. I think it's in that splendid thorn. It'll be close to the understory. No, don't stop calling now. Come on. Call again. It was making the most lovely call. Let me play both of those species quickly on the phone and see if we can't call him out. Robin, not Tobin. Robin chat. Right, here we go. Here's the white-throated. Would be that one. Now the thing is with these birds is that they're so very good at doing other birds' calls, and so seldom do they sound the same in two areas. But they do recognize, I think, the tone of each other's voices. He's not calling again. Right, so that was the white-throated robin chat, which I think this is most likely to be. Let's pair the bearded now. Isn't that lovely? They're so beautiful. Anyway, so that's them. And this fellow stopped calling now. Now, Eggsy, what I'm going to do, you see this thing of bushes here? That's potato bushes. I'm going to get out. I'm just going to walk towards it. Just put the camera there. And let's just see if the bird doesn't flush. And then I'll bring you back some potato bush to have a smell of, Eggsy. That's very right. It's correct. Thank you indeed. I'll just watch out here. If it does flush, it'll be from somewhere there. There. No, but that's a white-browed scrub robin that's calling now. This is not potato bush, everyone. This is gruvia. Gruvia growing in a thick stand, a raisin bush. Let's just watch here, see if anything flushes. There. We're not going to see it with that camera, I'm afraid. And I can't see exactly what it was. No, we'll have to call that quits and come back down here, I think, with a bit more zoom lens. Eggsy, have you lain in the sand before here?
No, sir.
You must do it. I must just tell you that the feeling on a warm, late winter's windy afternoon of lying in the sand is, it's just magnificent. It's like the earth somehow, I guess it's like lying on a sponge of earth energy where, you know, on the slightly harder soil it doesn't quite seep into your bones in the same way as it does in the sand. You like that, Eggsy?
I didn't see it.
You didn't see it? You didn't see me lying in the sand? Why not?
Yeah, you were too in front of the car.
Oh gosh. Let's so difficult dealing with these cameramen. They're full of excuses. Okay, here we go. I'll attempt not to pull this thing out of my ear socket again. Not sure why it's happening. I'm obviously wriggling about a bit today. Right, on we go. Let's head towards Biffleshoek Dam and see if anything else has arrived there, and then we'll head back down. In fact, I think, you know what, with the sun like it is now, let me just check. Yeah, I think we're going to go straight back to those lions now and see if they aren't getting active. Let me just get an update on the radio as to what's going on with them. Any station with the animals of Gary Cutline? Nothing. Right. Any stations with the pride of Gary Cutline? I'll turn this on so you can hear, but no one is talking to me. Oh well, we'll go there and see what happens. Hold on, Eggsy. Right, so you probably won't see Brent again for the lectures of the while. That is not because there is any tragedy or emergency, fear not. He is just doing some filming for a Nat.Geo wild, well, I guess what we'd call it a roll-in or cutaway, I suppose. And I'll do the same tomorrow. And so in the afternoon, of course, during golden hour, we want to look our best, you see. Did you get that, Eggsy? Did you get me looking my best? He's now starting to look embarrassed. There's a lovely black-crowned chagra I saw there, but again, not going to reach it with this lens. Drive a little bit faster now and see if we can't get to those lions before they start to move. I'm pretty sure the cubs would have started to play by now. Ooh. Hello. There's a viewer from Paris getting hold of us, and we don't really know how to say your name. K-I-M-E. I'm just going to say Kim, if that's all right. And N for nose, right. K-I-N-E, Kin. We're going to call you Kin for now, and apologize profusely because I've no doubt that's incorrect. So, you want to know if, being in an open vehicle like this, you obviously saw those other people on those open vehicles, and you say, you know it's safe, but if someone is sick and weak or perhaps old, would lions or leopards not pick up on that weakness and then see, you know, as they do with animals, and not perceive the weakness and then see us as prey? The answer is no, they wouldn't, because they don't see us as prey anytime, and especially on the vehicles. It's almost like they don't recognize that we're people. I'm not convinced that that's the case, but they just don't perceive us in the same way. If they saw people walking in the bush, and one was obviously limping and looking miserable and morose and sore, then I think they would absolutely pick up on that. In the vehicle, no. Eggsy. Eggsy, Eggsy. Oh, Eggsy. What have we here, Eggsy? It's an African hawk eagle. It's so close to where the Wahlberg's eagles have their nest that I thought maybe it might be a Wahlberg's. The other one's on the... Eggsy, the other one, and you see it there. Let's just go around the corner. It's definitely the partner. just around the corner. I don't want to flush it off the ground like we did with the lizard buzzard earlier. There. Eggsy, there it is. Can you see it? It's gone down onto the ground. Here comes the second one. I think it's caught something. The other one's flying around, distracting them. There. Oh, wow. I don't know what happened there, everyone. I think that there was some hiding underneath the bushes here. Maybe the Franklin was hiding in the bushes there and it got away. I think it did get away. But you see how the one landed and the other sat there, and then as the one pounced, the other one went off. And often what happens is the bird on the ground, say a Franklin or a dove or a guinea fowl, will escape the initial attempt, and then the one circling above will hammer it as it comes up off the ground. So that's the African hawk eagle, not Eggsy, the other one. What's the other one called? The sad bird, yes, the Wahlberg's eagle, which we did not see yesterday. Alrighty, let's go back to the lions. This Eggsy is where they live. See it in there? Now, if you see a bird sitting in there, you can be fairly sure that it is the Wahlberg's eagle. They are the pale form Wahlberg's couple. Mr. and Mrs. Pale Form. I think there are a few people in that sighting. They're not responding to the radio, and there are one or two people trying to get hold of them. Are there any stations in the sighting on Gari Cutline? I'm just listening to Candace talking. I'm making my way there from Gari Dam. Righty. Here is the waterhole at which there were baboons earlier on. But I think they've gone away now. We're not too far from the lions now. What a lovely question, all the way from Spain. Hello Nina again, we've definitely heard from you, it's good to hear from you again. You say, how long would it take for agricultural land to become wild again, to return to its natural state? It depends. I mean, it's an impossible question to answer, but it's a lovely discussion to have. Phinda, for example, where Brent grew up or spent a lot of his formative years, was agricultural land, was pineapple farming. Now, pineapple farming absolutely denudes the landscape. It takes away all the natural nutrients, and so it took, I mean, you can still see that some parts of it were agricultural, and Phinda has now been around probably, I think they had the 20th reunion about 5 or 6 years ago, so about 25, 26 years. So, you know, you wouldn't, if you didn't know, I suppose you wouldn't know. But you can see, if you do know the area, that it was certainly agricultural land before that. But remember that there is no natural state of land, really. This is a constantly changing landscape, and if you were to come back here in 150 years, it would look completely different from what it looks now. And so it's difficult to say whether Phinda, which is a good example of agricultural land that's been turned to wildlife, it's really difficult to say whether it would have looked like that 250 years ago or if it would have looked slightly different. Both of them are natural. There's no alien vegetation there. It's all natural vegetation. The species of animals are all naturally occurring, so it's very difficult to say. But you can be very sure that any land that has been used for agriculture, especially kind of fruit agriculture, where they've had to put high high inputs into the soil, lots of fertilizer, mono-specific agriculture, so where they've only grown one species of food, you can be very sure that the soil is going to be denuded and it's going to be really difficult for natural vegetation to come back. But it will always return back. It always happens. It's incredible how nature reclaims what we do. And I remember when I lived in Johannesburg, my favorite thing was to walk along a pavement when it was cracked and see the grass coming through, and just thinking to myself, nothing we can do is going to ever be permanent on this world. And I just think that's a wonderful thought. Now these lions should be around here, but Candace is just in front of us there, and I'm not sure that she's seen them. Hello Acadia, you're wondering how we keep track of who's moving into what sighting when, and who's in the queue and who isn't. It's on this radio and it's not very easy, I must tell you, for a sighting, for example, like they had with that leopard. And, okay, the lions are just in front of us. But what's interesting, Acadia, is how we do it is, so if, for example, let's say Candace had just found those lions, she'd call it in. Then, because I was approaching as the second person coming in, I would then control the queue behind it. And the last person to call in is the person that has to control the sighting, so that those who are in the sighting can still enjoy it with their guests. Well, does that make sense? Right, here are these two males that you've seen already. Now, where the rest of the pride is in relation to these ones, I don't know. So they're the males, everyone, but I don't know where the rest are. I think I'm just going to ask Kirsten to confirm whether the others were also seen today, at least this afternoon, or whether it was just these ones who are fast asleep. Okay, so these are the... So apparently there were only these ones and the lioness and no cubs earlier on. So I don't know where the cubs are. There were cubs, but they were hidden in the bush. I'm not sure whereabouts from here. But they might be becoming active fairly soon. Let's just ease our way up the road slightly and see if we can't find them. I also asked Kirsty maybe to get hold of Brent, just so that he can tell me exactly where they are, if he's got space to tell me. We'll just see if we can't see some vehicle tracks. Right, here we go. Brent's on the radio. Go ahead.
If you go onto Gary Capline, there's that little redwood, probably about 3/4 of the way to the north from junction with Central. You'll see your vehicle tracks going east, and there's you should see one male, or a piece of a male.
He's telling us about the males. Yeah, we've got the males, Brent. Any idea where the females and youngsters are?
So from a little bit to the north of that redwood there, on the edge of the drainage there, you should see vehicle tracks going in.
So they're in the bushes over here. Let's just drive in here and see what we can see. These drainage line areas are so brilliant if you're trying to hide cubs away. Because it means, of course, that vehicles can't get in there. It's cool on a hot day like it was today. But I don't see any other evidence. There are plenty of vehicle tracks around here. And there are elephants at the Djuma Dam Cam if you want to look at them. But let's just try and have a quick look and see if we can't find the lionesses in here now. We'll just get to the edge of the drainage here, and then we'll stop and have a little listen. Oh, I can see vehicle tracks here. What I'm going to do is just take the binoculars out, and Eggsy, I'm going to ask you to sweep sort of from left to right and see if there they are, straight in front of us. Well spotted with their little ones. No? So just a cub or just a mother? They're so deep in the bush. Let's move forward. Yeah, this is not going to be a great view of them. They're in a perfectly cosseted spot there. Can you see them there, Eggsy? And they're straight through here. They're the other side, yeah. Do you see one here as well? Okay, Eggsy's seen others, everyone. Oh, have you got them there? There you are. So, not the best view of the Nkuhuma Pride that we've ever had. And we'll just keep looking around here and see if the rest aren't around here somewhere. And you've got another one there, Eggsy. Vehicle? Down in the drainage? Oh, and Eggsy's got a nose that he can see. Oh yes, I can see her, thank you. Yeah, everybody, we're not going to be able to get any better view of them. They're right in the drainage there, and I think the little ones are there too. We might try one view from around that side. Let's try that. And then if not, we'll try those elephants. Well done, Egbert. Good job. I'm a little bit torn because apparently the elephants at the water are the short trunk herd, which is my favourite little herd. So let's just ease our way through here and have a quick look over the edge of the drainage. In fact, I don't think we're going to get a good view. We might. We might. If they're lying in exactly the right gap, we're going to get a good view. Excuse the noise, everyone. Lovely sound, that. There we are. That's actually not a bad view at all, Eggsy. You see there? Unfortunately, no babies over there. Deborah Armchair Traveller, I agree with you completely. It's absolutely scandalous that these lions should be lying in a position where you are unable to get good screenshots of them. It's selfish, it's unkind, it's unwarranted, and it's just not cricket. Now, if you listen very carefully, you can hear the cubs now starting to have a bit of a fight over their evening milk. And then if you can hear that again. But unfortunately, we are not going to get a view of them up there. Alright, I think that we should leave these chaps and go and try and find those Ellies. We might pass by here again afterwards. Oh, there's no, there isn't. That's it. Brock, in Pennsylvania, you're interested in whether or not these lions have a dominant in the pride, the females. They don't. In theory, it isn't. In theory, there is no dominant lioness. In theory, it's purely just a sort of socialized group of females who look after each other. But what you find is that the bigger the lion is, the greater the chance she has of eating, because she'll just bash off the others. And lion society is very ignoble. Basically, the larger you are, the better your chances of feeding, and that is what defines dominance in the lion pride. This creature, which many would call the king of the jungle, I would call the great gangster of the jungle. He is dominant over all the females, the two of them, and there's not normally a there's not normally a dominance hierarchy amongst these great criminals of the bushveld, the big male lions. But sometimes when there's some fighting over mating, there is an attempt to sort of assert some form of dominance. But these guys are all the same size, they're all closely related to each other, so there doesn't seem to be any kind of dominance. They are so very happy to be lying under that bush. Let's go and have a quick look at those elephants. We're not far away. And they're still drinking and having a dust bath at the moment, apparently, which is very nice to know. Come on, Wendy. I haven't seen this elephant for a little while now. And apparently there's more than just the short trunk herd there. There are a few others there as well. Yeah, Heidi in Las Vegas. A very good question from you living in Las Vegas. You say if it's hot in our winter. It's not hot in our winter, but it's not cold. How hot does it get in the summer? The answer is beastly hot. It will regularly hit 40 degrees, sometimes 45 degrees Celsius, and I think 42 is 100 degrees Celsius, because a human being is 98, if I'm not mistaken. So, no, 100 is about 39 degrees Celsius. And it regularly goes up to sort of 105 degrees in the summertime, which is okay. It's perfectly manageable if we get the rainstorms in the afternoon. Then it doesn't really matter, because everything cools down at night and it's really rather quite pleasant. But during the drought that we had last year, that sun, which is a gorgeous color you can see now, was just this plain burning white ball that came up white and it went down white every single day, and no rain came, and it was that oppressive hot temperature. And in a normal season it's actually not very unpleasant at all, but in a drought season it can be very difficult, which I imagine is quite similar to where you live in Las Vegas, which is in a desert, if I'm not mistaken. Right, so let's approach these chaps, I think from underneath them. Let's go this way, into the dam. You're right there, Eggsy, hanging off the side of the carful. Just getting some fresh air, is that what you said? I see. I got a little weary when I saw that one over there. We were chased by an elephant this morning on Cheetah Plains, a one-tusked cow. Small cow, that's a bull. She was deeply displeased to see us. Now you can see us approaching these elephants. Look at the one on the right-hand side of your screen now. You can see her opening her ears a little bit. That's because she's watching us. I'm not going to approach too closely at this stage. I'm going to stop over here, so you can see where I've stopped. That's my favourite elephant there. You can see walking now to the left-hand side of your screen. She's just missing her trunk, and that's her little herd. That's her little herd there. And these are two bulls walking behind her. not with her. Eggsy, the two bulls walking behind her. Well done. Those two bulls walking behind her, I've seen with her a few times actually. I don't think they're related necessarily, but they would like to hook up every so often with a herd like this, just because I suppose there's a bit of security involved. But see how he's reticent to approach her. She stopped and she's talking to him. There's no question. It's almost like she's saying to him, that's enough. And they don't always like to have these young, boisterous bulls around them. There's a very interesting conversation happening here. There he's approaching a bit closer. Let's see what she says. And remember, they are talking to each other with that infrasonic sound that we can't hear. See how she waited and sent the others off in front of her? And almost said to him, you stay here. He's just of an age when he's not sure of himself. It's so like human beings, it's uncanny. He's of an age when he's not sure of himself. He wants to sort of assert his independence, but he's feeling probably a bit homesick as well. Let me just move a little bit so Eggsy can get a slightly easier shot. There you are, Eggsy. And she's just not having any of it. It's also possible that the young cow in the herd is coming into estrus, and that, even though he's a young bull, it might attract the young cow. At least it might attract the young bull. And this chap coming in is much bigger. He's probably about 18 or so. And the other young bull I would put, I don't know, about 16. And can you hear them moving? That just sort of lovely sound of elephant foot on the sand. Now that other bull, hang on a second. Cecilia, you're in Maryland and you're wondering about the age structure of this herd and saying surely in a herd like this there should be more than one adult female. There normally is, and we're not exactly sure what happened here. In this herd there are at least two of that elephant that you're looking at, the short-trunked female. There are at least two that are her offspring. The other one, which is just slightly smaller than her, and she's not older, she's probably only about 30 or so, I would say, maybe even younger. She could be 25 or so, in fact. The other one could also be her offspring, or perhaps a sibling from the herd that she has detached from. Why she's on her own, I don't know. We don't know her history, or why she's left the herd that she was in. You know, her natal herd. She's very clearly not in her natal herd anymore, which is unusual. That's a lovely picture of them eating that black monkey thorn. Look at this little thing coming down there. And they're there next to the mother. Then perched there on the dam wall. He's just sort of still suckling, you see, so very much of what that little thing does now is just playing. There's an element of trying to eat adult food, but when he's hungry he just goes off and has a drink. And Mia, you're just 4 years old, and thank you very much for getting hold of us. I hope you're having a good time wherever you are in the world. You say, have any of us seen Benjamin Button? Now, for those of you who don't know, Benjamin Button, a very strangely wrinkly elephant who looks like he's got very old before his time. And Mia, we haven't seen him for a little while. I think I last saw him probably about a month ago. So, no, he hasn't been seen. But that's normal, Mia. You know, these elephant herds move big distances, and we sometimes don't see this short trunk herd, if you like, that's what we call them, for many weeks at a time. So I'm sure Benjamin Button is just fine. He's a very odd-looking elephant, isn't he? I'm just going to move around a little bit so we can get a slightly different angle, maybe a better view. We're right in the Djuma Dam, and when I arrived here in May last year, we'd have been underwater now. Hello Thomas, you're in Pennsylvania. Let me just get into position. You can see she's just lifted her leg a little bit as if to say you might be coming a bit close. So we'll just stop here. Thomas, you say, if an elephant is sick, will it leave the herd? No, Thomas, it won't leave the herd unless it's too sick to keep up with the herd. So if it is very sick and cannot keep up with the herd, then the herd might leave it, or I suppose, you know, we don't know exactly what the situation is. We don't know if it then says to its mates, go on without me, I'll catch up if I can, or if its mates say to it, you know, that's it, we got to cut loose the dead weight. We don't know what that is, but an extremely sick elephant might be left behind. But I don't think they voluntarily leave the herd, no. Eating some interesting plants there. I don't know what that one on the top is eating. It's a very strange looking plant. It's some kind of reed, I think. In fact, yeah, it's definitely a reed that would grow here when it's wet, which it isn't. But just look at the agility. Perched on a very steep slope there, both the baby and that slightly older one. So those two that you're looking at there, I'm pretty sure are the short-trunked female's offspring. The first one, I suspect her first baby, and the second one a fairly recent one. And what she's doing now is walking along here. She's looking at us, and she's smelling the purple panweed, which is this very rather sweet-smelling herbaceous plant. And I think that you'll find it's not the best eating, but I think she's going to try some. But difficult for her, of course, because she does not have the prehensile edge to her toes. At least she doesn't have the prehensile tip to her trunk, should I say, sorry. And there she's shaking off the dirt, popping it into her mouth. I wonder if she'll like it. I don't think any of the animals like this stuff particularly, mainly because it still survives. No, not too bad. See if she has some more, and she tells the others to come down and have some. See how she picks it up now, watch. She has to just kind of touch it with her trunk, and then she'll have to kick it out with her foot. There we go. Not easy for her. At least she's lucky, you see that? See how she has to scrape it out, and then she can pick it up. Not easy for her, but she can touch the ground. Now I've seen a number of sort of half-trunked or short-trunked elephants that cannot touch the ground anymore, and then it's really hard. Then if they want to eat something like this, they've got to get onto their knees and kind of put their mouths to it, and that's not easy. And when they drink, they've almost got to bury their faces in the water. But she's doing fine. Somehow she's managed to adapt. And again, I say this fairly regularly, but the resilience of all the animals out here never ceases to amaze me. With that very skillful and gentle kick of the bushes out of the ground, picking up almost no dust. She knows exactly where her trunk is, exactly where to stand, exactly where to put her foot. It's such a silent part of the evening, as I've said to you before. The sun is now set. And there's just a few francolins calling, and soon the drongos will start to call their last. And one or two oxpeckers going home to bed. I can hear them flying over us. Chip, 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 chip. Now sticking close to Mum, the little one. And the others have gone the other side of the dam wall, and like I said to you earlier, they'll be chatting to each other, they'll be talking consistently. You see that foot lifted there? That means there's communication going on. See? She's now walking up. It's almost as if there was something making her slightly uncomfortable. That's what, when they lift their feet like that, it's exactly what that cow did before she gave us a bit of a rev this morning. And this cow is definitely not doing it because of us. She's perfectly used to us. Ah, Eggsy. Look, it's daytime again. Eggsy, 2 days in one, eh? There's a bonus for you. That's what living in the bush gives you. Eggsy, every day's your day. Eggsy says today's not his day, everyone. Tanya, a very good question. There seems to be a huge amount coming out of Pennsylvania today. That's quite nice. Pennsylvania is clearly on Safari Live Watch right now. Brilliant stuff. You say, could she have been separated from the herd as a result of her trunk being lost? I was actually thinking that earlier, so I suppose it would be possible that she could have perhaps lost the trunk to a snare. You know what, she may have been stuck in a snare as a youngster. Maybe the rest of the herd abandoned her there, but that's very unusual and probably wouldn't happen. I suspect much more likely, if she was caught in the snare, say a youngster the size of her little calf there, normally they'd scream and shout and they'd break the snare, they'd break her free. Well, it's possible, Tanya. I don't know. It'd certainly explain why she's on her own. But also she would have to have weaned already. Alright, we're going to sit here with these elephants for a little while. Brent Leo Smith is back up and running and he's heading back to the lions.
So it's the right time of the day to head towards the lions. I'm hoping they're going to get moving shortly. So James has got those wonderful elephants behind us at Gowrie Dam, and I'm going to head straight towards where those male lions are. I wonder if the females and cubs are around. I really wonder if they're going to head back towards that carcass. There might be hyenas heading there a little bit later, and I think they might be a bit nervous because of the presence of the male lions. Those male lions are sticking around the Nkuhuma females because one of them looks like she's about to come into estrus. Lots of Ellies around the corner. So there we go, just one of the Buffels Hook people out on an evening game drive. They've just been with the lions who were snoozing, but hopefully them and my luck holds true and they decide to get moving when we arrive. Okay, it sounds like everyone's leaving them, and so we'll have the lions to ourselves for the next little while. Now, the wonderful thing about being live and being out in the African bush is literally we never know. Are those lions going to stand up? Are they going to start roaring? Are they going to head back to that buffalo carcass? Now, we just saw a duiker dash out, and I know the rest of the lionesses in there. I was half hoping to see a lioness dashing out after the duiker. But I think I'm quite convinced the duiker is dashing due to the presence of the lions. So the rest of the Nkuhuma pride were actually down in this little river system. And we did have a brief view of them a little bit earlier. So here's still one game drive vehicle here with the males, but I'm going to go have a quick look if we can see if the females are still around. Hi Janet. Janet's wondering, has anyone seen the lion cubs with the skin issues? Those are the Styx pride, Janet, and they do not come this far north. So the Styx pride spend most of their time further to the east on Cheetah Plains, and they do come onto Djuma very occasionally, but we're looking for the Nkuhumas at the moment, and hopefully they will be right here. Oswald, evening. Very well, thanks, self. So they're the sleeping boys, very much asleep. Say when, VM? Now, the rest of the pride is not too far away. I mean, if I didn't know those were just sleeping male lions, you would almost think they might have expired. Nice and cool, so not breathing too heavily. Ruri, who's a very smart 9-year-old, and has noticed that the lions have a whitish patch or a lighter coloured patch below their eyes. Now Ruri, it's so they can see better at night. So that white catches all the ambient light and it makes it look even lighter for them than it is normally. So that's there especially to catch any ambient light that's around. Sorry, I just thought I heard something. I'm just going to have a quick squiz, probably not more than a couple of meters away. Now, I don't think anyone knows the rest of the Nkuhumas were sleeping just behind there. See, I was right. No one knew. I can see an Nkuhuma. Not the best view of one. So, if we go straight over the bonnet here. Now, believe me, that's a lion. And if we look down to the right, in the bottom of the ravine, lying under that log, there's another. Now the cubs are around here as well. I can hear the cubs. I can just hear those. Sounds like they're suckling. But unfortunately, as you can see, it's an almost impenetrable area. So we'll go back to the big boys who are lying out in the open. Oh, there's a little stretch. Now, Sally in Oregon says, my first real life lion log. Well, we did see a little stretch there. Now, those little bits of movement like that are precursors to possibly a bit more movement. Could we be spoilt enough that the lion logs might start roaring? If they don't roar during the sunset safari, I guarantee you keep a listen on the Djuma Dam cam. I think there's going to be a lion cacophony this evening. Very comfortable kitty. Now, quite often when following big cats, you have to have an incredible amount of patience because, I mean, a male lion on average will sleep for about 20 hours a day. So anyone at home who likes napping, you should have been a male lion. But it is incredible that they take almost zero notice of us, as we are probably only about 10 foot away from them. Let's see there. On his back, you can see how much darker the manes are since when we first started seeing the Birmingham boys. So they are in their prime at the moment. They're just about 6 years old. So at the moment, these two are probably not as dominant as the third, who's lying up with the pride. Now what happens is, oh, there we go. Are we going to have a little roll? we need a yawn and a leg stretch and a urinate, and then we're in business that they might move before the end of the safari. Well, Mood Honeydew is wondering why we can always see their teeth. Can they not close their mouths all the way? No, they're quite capable of. They're just being lazy. He's also lying on his back, so his top lip is going to be falling down. I can't see any teeth there. But they are definitely capable of closing their mouths fully. Now, as darkness sets, the lion's time begins. We are the dominant diurnal predator, so the dominant daytime predator is actually a human being. But as the night sets in, lions become the dominant predator. And a lion's behavior to a human being on foot is completely different during the evening and at night than it is during the day. And that reason you want to get home when it gets dark. It's an instinctive response from when we used to live on the African savannah. But quickly across to James.
This is amazing, everybody. These two bulls are in the middle of having quite a serious argy-bargy. I'm most excited, of course, because I have found the opportunity to say argy-bargy. Let me just move up a little bit so we can get a good view. Don't want to get in their way. They're not adults. Well, they're sort of adults. They're sort of teenagers. Old teenagers. One of them, I think, is pushing 20, the one on your left. And I know the picture's a bit dark, but just enjoy this. I'm not going to shine any light on them. I might put the... And you see, this chap is much bigger than the other one. And here he is moving in. Oh, don't do it behind the bush. There we go. You got them, the eggs. Isn't that fantastic? Look at the dust. That's Vuyatela, you can see behind there. The camp. It's going to move a little bit so that Eggsy can get a slightly better angle at them. I'm going to keep our distance as much as we can. Just simply here. I mean, the one on the right is much smaller. And you can see he's almost saying, go away and leave me alone. And the big one is bullying him now. Ooh, it's not a very nice place to have a tusk stuck. Isn't this amazing? And they're just catching the light off the dam cam there. You can go to the dam cam view. I don't know what that's like. Look at the dust. If the zoomie is watching, can I ask that you zoom all the way out? Because I think you'll probably get an unbelievable picture of that dust floating away. Not you, Eggsy. You can stay zoomed in. You're not a zoomie. So there's the dam can view. Apparently not the best view. I'm going to try and get a bit closer while you're on the dam cam view. Sorry, hold on, Eggsy. Don't fall off the car at this juncture. You've done very well to stay on so far. I don't think it's that. I don't think they're having a particularly serious fight. We come back to us now. You may well find that they're brothers, you know, who've been tossed out of the herd together. The older one looks at the right age to be tossed out of the herd. The younger one is probably a little bit young. And now he's having something to drink, and the big one wants to fight. The little one just wants to be left alone. What a great sight! And in the background, you can probably hear the drongos. Hello, I think what I'm going to pronounce as Rory in Edinburgh. It's probably that strange Scottish spelling of Rory. Very nice to hear from you all the way from Edinburgh. Thank you for getting hold of us. You say, have I ever been charged by an elephant, and what did I do? Rory, what I did was drive away. It happened to me today, you know. It's very unusual that it happens, but a cow got very cross with me and my friend Viam, who was filming. We don't really know why, and she chased us down the road. And she chased us for a little while, but luckily we had a forward escape route. Oh, look at that! All of that water being sprayed out. So the thing, Rory, is that when you get into a sighting of elephants, you try and make sure always that if you have to drive quickly, you can go forwards, because it's quite easy to get away from an elephant if you can go forwards away from them. Not so easy if you have to go backwards, because then you can't see where you're going, and you might bump into a tree and stop suddenly, and then you can be in trouble. But it's unusual, you know, Rory. It used to be much more usual, but these days the elephants, especially in this area, have gained quite a lot of trust from us, and so they don't normally chase us. Right, everybody, we're going to leave you now, as these elephants look like they're going to have another fight. Thank you for joining us for this lovely drive. We'll just sit here and see what they do. If they have another fight, we might just keep watching. We're going to close now. Thank you, Eggsy, for your efforts. Big job, well done. I know you said it wasn't your day, but you know, Eggsy, I think it was. We'll see you all tomorrow, everybody, at 6 o'clock in the morning, just before the sun comes up. For the last minute or so, head across to Brent and the lions.
So the lions have rolled over one tiny bit, and they have not moved much at all, as you can see. The rest of the pride is lying up probably about 50 meters from them in the drainage system, with one dominant Birmingham who's chasing after what looked to be the amber-eyed lioness who's about to come into estrus. But it has been an incredible evening today. We've been lucky enough. We've had lions, we've had Ellies, we've had Queen Karula, even just for the briefest moment as she dashed down to the south. Hopefully on tomorrow's sunrise safari she'll bring Hosana and Shongile back for a visit to the north. As I said, these lions don't look like they're going to do anything this evening. Oh, there we go. That's about the most movement we've had all day. What I think he's heard the cubs and the other lionesses down in the drainage line behind him, and he's just listening carefully. But remember to keep your ears open on the Djuma dam cam, because I think these guys are going to be making lots of noise tonight. And from Viam and myself, it's been wonderful having you on this live African safari. Unfortunately, the Birmingham boys are not quite reading the script, so it doesn't look like they're going to roar for us tonight. Hopefully we'll have them roaring first thing on the sunrise safari. Always very exciting. But for the last few seconds of drive, we're going to say good night, or bonne nuit in French, but let you look at a sleeping lion.